your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming. This is KNEB.TV News, presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News, powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, pretrial hearings have been set for April 15th for a North Carolina teen facing charges of first-degree forcible sexual assault and assault by strangulation in two separate Scottsbluff County District Court cases. The 17-year-old male is accused of using force during sexual assaults on two girls, aged 15 and 14, in separate incidents on consecutive days in June of last year. The defendant has entered not guilty pleas in both cases, and on January 20th, Judge Andrea Miller heard arguments on a motion to transfer both cases to juvenile court, which she took under advisement. The teen remains at the Scottsbluff County Detention Center, with bond in one case set at $1 million and $500,000 in the other. Well, critical to extreme fire weather conditions are in place throughout the day today as the latest weather system has moved into our region. Red flag warnings and what forecasters call a particularly dangerous situation are in effect through 6 p.m. for the Panhandle and portions of southeastern Wyoming, with constant winds projected in excess of 40 miles per hour, gusts of 60 miles per hour, and humidity under 15%. Officials are asking the public to be avoiding outdoor activities that could lead to a wildfire, as vegetation in the area is tinder dry, and combined with wind would lead to rapid fire spread. Travel by high-profile vehicles will be difficult into the mid-evening hours with gusty and hazardous cross winds. And Alliance residents are invited to a meet and greet scheduled for Wednesday evening to get to know the finalists for the city manager position. The four finalists are Rear Admiral David Wolf, David Wise, Lou Leone, and J.D. Cox. They will be participating in a 2-day interview process this week with city leaders, and the public is also encouraged to meet with the finalists. The meet and greet is scheduled for Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Knight Museum and Sandhill Center. We'll have more news right after this.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you take advantage of every adventure. We know you have plans, goals, and dreams. Let us help you with them. Whether it is building, buying, or renovating, we have the home loan or home equity line of credit to fit your needs. Stop in and see us at Platte Valley Bank and let us help make your dreams a reality. You belong here. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Show your home some love with an upgrade to Acclaim replacement windows and an ensemble entry door. Get 20% off windows and doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, get an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Energy efficient, durable, and custom made for the perfect fit. It's time to show your home some love. Call today or visit rbawyoming.com to book your free estimate.
Welcome back. Several candidates seeking to be elected to Capitol Hill later this year joined a press conference yesterday with policy leaders to discuss Nebraska's exclusion from federal medical cannabis protections. Despite voter-passed initiatives to create a Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission and make it legal for prescribed patients to possess up to 5 ounces of medical marijuana, there's nowhere in the state where you can legally buy medical marijuana. Monday's press conference was hosted by DC-based Americans for Safe Access and included Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana Executive Director Krista Eggers. She's outraged that Nebraska wasn't added to the list of states that prohibits the DOJ and DEA from interfering with state-authorized medical cannabis programs.
The fact that we were not added to the rider to provide the same protections that every other state has on this, you really have to wonder why and who is behind this. This wasn't an oversight in our eyes. We have talked to so many different individuals out on Capitol Hill, advocates that are advocating and lobbying at the federal level on this.
State Senator John Kavanaugh, who's running for a congressional seat in District 2, and Dan Osborne, an independent running for Pete Ricketts' U.S. Senate seat, both said that if elected to their posts, they would work to see this through for Nebraskans at the federal level. Well, during the month of January, 19 people were killed in traffic crashes on Nebraska roadways, according to data collected by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Those 19 fatalities occurred in 15 fatal crashes, with 8 of the vehicle occupants killed not using seatbelts. Now, none of the January fatalities occurred on the interstate, but 9 did occur on highways and 10 on local roads. 2 of the January fatalities were pedestrians, and 1 of them involved a train. The NDOT says icy road conditions contributed to 1 fatality crash, resulting in 2 fatalities.
I imagined retirement in a place where we could enjoy our golden years, where adventure and friendship are the only items on the schedule. The Garden Homes at Northfield gives us the luxury we planned for and peace of mind when it comes to convenience, safety, and comfort. We never have to stop and think about the day-to-day upkeep. We love to explore abroad, but most importantly in our backyard. So much to do, so much to see. Here at Northfield, we get the protection of life care, incredible tax benefits, and secured rates for aging services. It's peaceful, knowing that if our needs change, we'll be taken care of. And most importantly, that our kids will never have to make any tough decisions. There never seemed to be enough time to do all the things we wanted. Now we get to focus our energy on enjoying what this community has to offer. At the Garden Homes, life is ours again. A place we had dreamed about. A chance to focus on us.
On the Rural Radio Network, I'm Alex Makovica, and we're visiting with Nebraska Extension's Eric Hunt, who gets us set up for the week ahead, and this morning, maybe a little bit of a long-range outlook, too. Eric, we start the morning pretty warm temps. We are getting used to these warm temps, but what I hear you say is don't get used to them. It's about to cool down. What can we expect in the week ahead?
Well, we got a few more days of very warm temps. So actually, today's probably going to be the warmest day in the Panhandle. I do think everybody should get at least to the low to mid 60s this afternoon. Reasonably good chance of getting the 70s across west central and south central Nebraska. And just based on that, we seem to kind of keep overachieving on high temperatures. I would guess that most states going to have a reasonable shot at hitting 70 this afternoon. Some places in eastern Nebraska may be limited a little bit by the cloud cover. We are going to have a little bit more cloud cover today than we had over the weekend, at least compared to yesterday. Some might limit temp just a little bit in a few places, but yeah, warmest day, though, will be tomorrow, and I think there's going to be a shot that somebody kind of between Holdridge and Grand Island cracks 80 tomorrow afternoon. Official forecast highs are mid-70s for most of south central and in eastern Nebraska. Might be a little bit hard to get above the mid-70s in eastern Nebraska. We might have a little bit more cloud cover, but yeah, quite warm tomorrow afternoon. A little bit cooler than Panhandle, probably looking highs low 60s to mid-50s as you get further toward the west of the state, but still pretty warm for this time of year. And then cooling off a little bit on Wednesday as we see a little bit more cloud cover and the warmest air kind of shoves over to our east. And speaking of precipitation, there is going to be a chance, and I'm not talking a good chance, but at least a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, kind of along and east of Highway 77. So if you're in the very eastern side of the state, don't be too terribly surprised if we don't have a quick thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon, early tomorrow evening. There is no real severe risk, but it would be actually kind of nice just to see something fall out of the sky. And it's certainly, I wouldn't mind hearing some thunder. It's been quite a while since we've heard that.
Yeah, it definitely has. Okay, so you bring up a good point. We haven't talked about the drought monitor here in a couple weeks. I imagine, I haven't looked at that lately, but I imagine maybe some degradation in that status. Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, we kind of keep seeing degradation around the state. So this past Thursday, we saw quite an expansion of drought and normal dryness across the state. So most of eastern Nebraska now is back in at normal dryness. That's more reflection of just, we haven't had much moisture the last 30 days. we're more than 30 days past that good moisture that we did get there back on January 8th. And if you got to look at the 120, 150 day precipitation departures, we are kind of accumulating deficits. We're not accumulating rapidly this time of year, but with the warmer temperatures, a lack of snow cover, we are losing water out of the ground. Now, especially now that things have thawed out, we are kind of continually just losing a little bit of water. So that's definitely putting us in a sort of precarious situation going into this next spring. Now, the good news is, we do have at least some chance of moisture late Tuesday across the eastern side of the state. But, and I know some people don't want to hear this four-letter word, we do have a pretty good chance of snow on Thursday afternoon, probably starting western and north central Nebraska during the day on Thursday, sliding toward the east late Thursday into early Friday across the eastern side of the state. Matter of fact, the ensembles actually show areas along the north of I-80 having at least a reasonable shot at getting 3 inches, and the Highway 20 corridor, say from Valentine over towards South Sioux City, have a reasonably good chance of probably getting, 4 to 6 inches might be their target range. So we are going to have winter coming back later in the week. It's going to be seasonally cool, I think, in the week. Not bitterly cold, but seasonally cool. Getting into next week, I think we get a little bit of a thaw as we head into early next week, maybe getting back to some pretty mild temps. But it does appear that we are going to see some repeated chance of getting some much colder air into this region of the country as we head later next week into the early part of March. And there does appear to be some possibility of getting more precipitation, including rain and snow across the state. The good news is anything that does fall, so if we do this with snow later this week, because the ground's mostly completely thawed out right now with the warm temps we've had lately, that snow will, when it melts, it will go in. So that's the good news. It's not going to be one of those years where, because everything ground's frozen, if it melts, it's just going to kind of percolate a little bit, then mostly, run off or sublimate or something. So that's the good news. We do get some snow.
Yeah. Eric, I grew up on a cow-calf operation where we calved both in February and March. We've done both, and I know better than to think spring is here. And as you've alluded to, maybe some winter storms coming in. But you look at kind of the long-range outlook. Are there chances of maybe one big winter storm to come in? Is it too early to tell? What can you share with us?
Well, right now I'm not seeing anything that would suggest like just a blockbuster winter storm, but there would certainly be the potential for that, I think, toward the end of the month and into March. Right now I'm not seeing anything that just definitively shows, we're better watch out here in 7 to 10 days. There may be something later next week that's worth watching out for, but that's getting into the time period where I don't have a lot of confidence in the models, particularly if it's just not something that's already repetitive. If I started seeing a signal for something like that in the ensembles at this point, I might start getting concerned, but I'm not. But there are indications, just kind of looking a little bit longer range as we get into March, we may get some colder air coming back into the region. So again, we are going to be very warm in the next few days, particularly at night. So we may see a few things try to bloom and bud out. But that's going to be, they're going to be sorry they did that because the colder air is coming. And the good news is if we get really cold in March, it's not necessarily, at least especially the eastern half of the state, it's not usually like the really, really brutal cold that we get in midwinter, but, it still might be impactful for calving. And I would just kind of caution that I don't think, just because we haven't had anything that resembles winter here for the last at least 2 or 3 weeks, I do think we are going to have more chances of getting more wintry type weather here the next month.
Okay, that brought up one more thing. I was talking to a gentleman after church yesterday, and he said, he made the point, a lot of these crops, a lot of the plants have not had a chance. I believe the phrase he used was to power down this winter. Just no real long stretches of winter. Are you seeing that? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, we have not had any long stretches of winter. Matter of fact, for most of the western half of the state, we are really looking at about record mild temps this winter. We've got temps and snowfall. It's basically been about one of the mildest winters on record across the western half of the state. Eastern side of the state, maybe not quite at record mild temps, but we've been generally well above average. We have not had any sustained cold anywhere in the state. Now, it's been different if you go well to the east, like Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York State. They've had this has been one of the coldest winters they've had in a long time. But for anywhere west of the Mississippi River, it's certainly been a mild winter. And for us, it's been excessively mild. And really, the last several years have been mild. And, this is with climate change. We are going to see more extended stretches in winter. We are not sustaining cold. That's kind of, some places will, but for the most part, most places in the Northern Hemisphere are not having sustained cold like we used to. And this is kind of an example of that. I do think we are going to have chances for it to be cold off and on for at least another month, but I don't know that we're going to see like a 3-week stretch of not getting above freezing. That just simply gets kind of hard to do as we get into the month of March.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, Eric, I appreciate your time. Thanks for entertaining all my questions, and you have a good week ahead.
Yep, you too. Thanks, Alex.
Life is crazy. Pain is stressful. How can anybody concentrate with these busy schedules? Now you can. This is Ben Moravec coming to you from Hydrozen, a float therapy business right here in Scotts Bluff. I'm here today to let you know we now have memberships for $49 monthly. You can guarantee yourself at least one float per month. You know how floating keeps your muscles relaxed, your joints relieved, and your brain clear to think? Now you can float at a reduced rate each month. Inquire today at hydrozenfloat.com or call us at 308-63-FLOAT. Hydrozen. Unplug and recharge.
Let's take a look at your community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank.
Please fasten your seatbelts for the turbulence up ahead. You ran a little bit early, but I haven't quite made it yet. The world is very pretty, feel the tiny little window. With all the lights out in the city, you flick away down the road. Working on the photographs, memories in my head. Thought you'd be here with me, took a different flight instead. I miss my connection, but now I'm missing you. You still haven't landed. You took a red eye to the moon, red eye to the moon. You were taking us way too soon. Don't fly across the sky. In the field for that night. All the ways that I have felt, being lonely in my bed. All the messages I sent, but they always go unread. Saw a vision in my daydream, in a plane that is empty, in the place that is between. Such a beautiful city.
The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scotts Bluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scotts Bluff.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you take advantage of every adventure. We know you have plans, goals, and dreams. Let us help you with them. Whether it is building, buying, or renovating, we have the home loan or home equity line of credit to fit your needs. Stop in and see us at Platte Valley Bank and let us help make your dreams a reality. You belong here. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
And finally tonight, the Nebraska Tourism Commission has appointed Jen Jardy as executive director following a unanimous 9-0 vote at its February meeting. Jardy was selected after a national search that drew nearly 50 applicants and included screening stages and committee interviews, with one finalist presented to the commission. An Omaha native and lifelong Nebraskan, Jardy brings more than a decade of Nebraska-focused communications and tourism marketing experience, grounded in professional storytelling and statewide engagement. She began her career as a TV news reporter, telling the stories of Nebraska communities, businesses, and people. That background in journalism continues to shape her approach to destination marketing today. Jardy joined the Nebraska Tourism Commission in 2015 as a PIO and was later promoted to marketing manager. She'll replace former director John Ricks. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll see you here next time.